There we go. I think it's working. Let me know if you can hear me over there. Greetings, everyone. As I choke on my own smoke, I think we made it. So the portal has opened sufficiently so as to allow us to kind of squeeze ourselves through back into the mortal realm. And so let's just pause for a quick moment here to hopefully, and I think we're operational. Hopefully, let's just all give thanks to the ever so bizarre and mighty gods of the YouTube shadow realms. Is there a YouTube shadow realm? I feel like if there's a YouTube shadow realm, this channel is definitely on it, or like in it, or stuck in it, or something. Which I guess if you wanna get technical is not such a bad thing. If you wanna get really technical, it's honestly not such a bad thing, and so, anyway, greetings, everyone. It's good to see you all. Give me a random series of numbers in the chat if you're able to hear my current audio. Just making sure you never know. You never know the way this internet realm thing works, and we might have a lot of delay here today. I'm not exactly sure, but let me know when you hear that. Put a bunch of put a bunch of random numbers in the chat. It's good to see everybody. There we go. What's up, Chiro Sounds? How's it going? Just so I know, I'm not speaking to a bunch of simulations. You know what I mean? What if the dead internet theory was actually real and all of you guys were just kind of like AI copies that had been populated by my local digital internet kind of cloud, that was sort of literally stored on all of our hard drives. You know what I mean? What if that was all true? So I'm gonna need some way. Okay, for everybody here in the chat, I'm gonna need some way for you guys to prove to me that number one, you're not an AI digital bot, and two, I need you to prove that you're not a skinwalker. For real though, how does one prove they're not a skinwalker? That's question number one for everyone that's here today. Anyway, I want to thank you all for joining us. Yes, thank you for mentioning the book. By the way, I have one next to me here. You're gonna start me off there. I want to thank LVC 73 because you're gonna help me get the awkward parts out of the way right now. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of you guys already know this, but I would be crazy if I did not at the very least take a few moments to let you guys know this is out. It's doing better than I expected, which is to say that it's doing something. And so if you're a supporter of this channel, if you're a person that has enjoyed the energy that we have created, if you're at all curious about maybe how I became such a strange and bizarre being that for some reason you guys continue to come back to YouTube to check out over and over again, whether you love me or you hate me. And I know there's always a few haters that will kind of roll through, but I highly recommend if you're one of those people that wants to be of service to me in the earth realm, you can pick up a copy of my first book. I say first because there's another one coming. It's a tarot book next. But it came out on June 22nd, and we haven't, you know what I mean? I've done a few shows talking about it. We've said a few things here and there, but I've been told over and over again, I have to get better at promoting myself. So every now and then you'll ask people for advice, how can how can I gain more, traction, in this ever fickle kind of social online internet realm. And the other one was that I needed to post more pictures of myself, which was one of those things where I was like, okay. So I don't know. I got to figure out a way to do that. I don't know. Is that like a Generation X thing? Is that a Gen X thing? Because we were like we were sort of the last generation before the internet. So we were sort of the last generation that sort of, grew up without selfies, without kind of any of the, the sort of social posturing of the Instagram generation. And so I do agree though. Probably I probably do need to do that. So basically here's what's happening, you guys. We're going to be heading out to Bali next month. Hired a photographer. We're going to be doing a 10-day retreat. We're going to be doing ayahuasca at least 3 times a day. And so I have a whole camera crew that's going to be following us around. It's going to be amazing. We're making a documentary about it. And so um, I hope you'll check it out. That would be crazy, right? What if I actually what if I actually did that? Okay, that will be one of the signs, everyone that's watching, which is, which is 5 people and 20 bots right now. So hello, AI digital copies of previous viewers of this channel. Very, very good to see you again. And thank you to the 5 real people. If you're one of the 5 real people that's here, give us a sign in the chat. Tell us your favorite breakfast cereal. Seriously, if you're one of the actual 5 real people on this live stream, tell us the name of your breakfast cereal, your favorite breakfast cereal from when you were a kid. Well, it's a very sincere question. We weren't. I realized I skipped right over the the skinwalker thing, but really, how does one prove that they're not a skinwalker? Was anyone able to answer that? Let me check the chat. Thank you, Larry and Renee. Honestly, thank you very much for purchasing that book. I really mean it sincerely. Those of you guys that watch this channel will already kind of know this reality about me, but it's all a lot of self therapy, which is kind of cringe. I know, but and it is all literally real. There's all other chapters of that book that I did not add in there. I would even say there's probably a whole other 25 pages or so about that very chapter you mentioned, Laureen, Renee, about that very person that I could go on and on about. But I probably, it's probably not appropriate for this sort of thing. But thank you for finding it. Thank you for noticing it. Oh, we have okay. So what's up, man? See, thank you for being here. Thank you for getting the book. I'm glad that you're not a bot. I appreciate it. The question is, can you prove that you're not a skinwalker? That's the big one. Oh, and you know what? You guys just reminded me of something. I'm gonna click over on Facebook for a second because StreamYard makes you renew your sort of authorization to stream on Facebook, and I do ever do Facebook Live. So let me just make sure it's definitely not working. So okay, let me open that up public. And so inevitably somebody will see this on Facebook. We usually have like 3 Facebook viewers. I'll be real. That's where a lot of the haters would probably come from me, would be Facebook. But also, I'll be even realer. I'm blessed to not have a lot of haters. You know what I mean? Every now and then we get one of those weird bots that'll show up here in the chat, but I don't know. I think it's because we're not even on the radar, or I still have a pretty strong invisibility spell. But anyway, it's good to see everybody here. Thank you for being a part of today's broadcast. That sounds very official, right? Being a part of today's broadcast live from the digital realm down at the we upgraded from the multi-dimensional trailer. We're now and see, it just doesn't have a ring to it. It doesn't have a ring to it. So we're gonna have to make some changes. But we did upgrade from the multi-dimensional trailer park to kind of a semi-abandoned strip mall in a seedy part of town. And so it's pretty cool. It gives us a lot more room. It's chill. There's a lot more parking. There's not a massive void opening in the parking lot. For those of you guys that had spent time at the previous multi-dimensional trailer park, you will probably recall those massive potholes were actually openings to the void that sort of line the outskirts of the property. It was not a good thing, but we've moved on from that. Anyway, let's check your cereal recommendations. I wish that I could still eat cereal. I want to be honest with you guys. There are times where I walk through, as they say, away from the outskirts of, the grocery store, and you go toward the center aisles, which is an interesting thing because you notice that is where everything processed is. And so, I'll go down the cereal aisle, and there are certain things I will look at them and I will deeply yearn for the 1980s before, glyphosate. Am I allowed to say that word? Oh shit. Before those things were toxic, but now they're literally toxic. I mean, really, truly, truly toxic. And I'm not knocking anybody that still eats breakfast cereal because I think if it didn't cause like extreme abdominal inflammation for me, I would still eat it. Definitely still eat it. But yeah, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them. Okay, so let's see here. Johnkin says golden nuggets. Wait, is that a cereal? Whoa. Okay. I don't know that one, but thank you. Thank you. Okay. Selena, how's it going? She says cinnamon toast crunch. Definitely cinnamon toast crunch. I had a really long run with cinnamon toast crunch for a while. It did that was definitely a good one. Hello, Dawn Vibrations. Oatmeal, that's a very smart choice. But there's also a lot of people not to not to cast doubt on everyone's breakfast choice, but there's also a lot of people that say that oats in general, even organic oats now, are like supposedly, maybe this is a black pill comment, you know what I mean, quote unquote. But they say that all oats now are inherently toxified, that the sort of like organic sort of genetics have been bred out in favor of this mass, like, I won't say the word, but that chemical that's in them. I don't know if it's true. Maybe it is. I'm not, it may very well be true. Hopeful Art says Apple Jacks. That's very, very good choice. Thank you, Hopeful Art. It's good to see you here. Menon C says Fruit Loops. Definitely. I had a big Fruit Loop run as a kid. Definitely did. LVC, how's it going? Frosted Flakes. I also had a really good Frosted Flakes run. It was like later on, I definitely identified that ingredient that they add to those, that it creates this sort of reaction in your body. I know they put the same chemical in McDonald's, and it's some sort of I don't know what it is exactly, but as soon as you eat it, for some people it'll create this neurological thing where you'll instantly want to eat it over again. It's like you'll just sort of like, you'll just pound it over and over again. I had that one with Frosted Flakes, and it's really a chemical. Anyway, sorry, I'm gonna guess. Right as we came in the door, you guys, we did a quick offering to the AI internet god of the YouTube, digital hierarchy, and here we are, already going back on our vow. Anyway, let me know. Do you have any other recommended breakfast cereals? Oh my lord, Lorene Renee, she said it. Probably the deadliest breakfast cereal, the most self-injurious breakfast cereal, right? Seriously, also one of the best tasting ones. I cannot deny. There was like, I don't know, I'll say it was like, I realize I'm dating myself here. 1986, 1985, that era of Captain Crunch, which was brilliant. It was incredible. Like as a kid, it was just like, oh man, the best breakfast cereal ever. But it just tears up the inside of your mouth. I mean, on a shocking level, it did at that stage and it does now, which is crazy, right? Some of you out there, somebody out there has had it recently and you've been like, oh shit, like your mouth is raw hours later. It's really weird, right? Anyway, you know how it is. Rachel Murray, that's a smart choice. Cocoa Puffs, very, very smart choice. Yep, absolutely. What's up, Rob? How's it going? Typical skeptic. Tricks. Okay, cool. Rob chooses tricks, which is a good one. Or maybe was that your choice? I don't know. Maybe that was a comment. What's up, Crystal? Honeycomb. Yep. I remember those. I do remember those. That was one of the few ones where I don't know, for some reason I couldn't get around like the texture of it. What's I remember this one as well. What's Arcane peanut butter Captain Crunch? That was another one, dude. Like the flavor is incredible, but it just tears your shit up. You cannot deny that's what it does. What's up, Braden? Braden, this is a very sensible adult choice right here. Cream of wheat. Let me just say, out of everyone here, that is the most sensible adult mature breakfast choice. I just want to say, job. Thank you for thank you for making that choice. I'm serious. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for choosing that. Oh, what's up, Rob? He says, actually, thank you, by the way. Fruity Pebbles was actually my shit. Totally. Fruity Pebbles had a very, very good run. I think as I sort of extend out my cereal career, you know, in this life, because I literally can't eat it anymore, you guys. I walk past it all the time and I'm like, you know, maybe we can go back there, but I just haven't. I don't know. Maybe I will one day, just, you know. But anyway, yeah, fruity pebbles was a big one. But later on in the journey, I got super obsessive into frost mini wheats. And then at some point they dramatically changed them. They like and some of you guys out there know this. I know there's going to be one person, granted, you know, this video, you know, there's only about 500 of you in this entire human world that will probably ever see this video. But for those of you that do, I know some of you guys out there are going to, some of you out there are going to remember that. They changed them at one point and then it just got weird. And I don't know, maybe that was the stage when the AI took over our society. Maybe in the future we're going to look back upon it and we're going to identify it based upon strange changes in food products where they certain things become a little more plastic, you know what I mean? Became a little bit more artificial. Not to say that it wasn't already, but I know this is undebatable. In the early 1980s, we were not getting full of high fructose corn syrup in the way that we were, and there's probably about 50% less ingredients on every single one of those products. And I know for some people they're gonna be like, you know, nostalgia, and you know, yeah, but also at the same time, it's just crazy to notice how toxic it is. Um, and Andromedan says, I don't eat cereals. You know what? That's a very wise choice. I don't either. I don't eat them anymore either. So I feel you. I feel you. Libby has a smart choice as well. Shredded wheat biscuits and squares. Wheaties, yeah. Well, okay, Wheaties. That's going back in the day. I'll be real. Somebody in my family tried to buy Wheaties when I was a kid, and I was really bummed because it tasted like cardboard. And I was like, I'll never eat these again. No, for real. I was over them. That one did not come together for me. Excuse me. Anyway, what's up, Heidi Pop? She says now eggs on avocado toast. I think sort of like which that's a very wise choice, by the way. I think I'm a little bit like that meme, you guys, where it's like this is the most American breakfast possible, and it's like this shit load of bacon, and somehow there's like a gun next to it, and like juice and a coffee. I'm like, I would say I'm kind of close to that, except way, way, way less bacon and probably more eggs. And well, I honestly probably not the gun either. Not that I'm anti-gun. I love them. It just it doesn't seem like a moment where we're gonna, you know what I mean? It's like you're not really gonna have a gun out at the breakfast table. Let's just be real. You're not, you know. But still, I deeply identify with that meme. Somebody out there knows. Somebody out there knows. I would say like when it comes down to it in the end, I'm pure coffee. Like if you know what I mean? Like if there's one sort of thing that which is, you know, maybe that's standard all across the world, but when it comes down to it, if there was one sort of compound in the morning, it's certainly coffee, which is crazy because I literally have a coffee right here. Anyway. It's good to see everybody, by the way. And so I just want to make one more quick announcement here before I get really, really far off. Before I get really, really far off, because some of you guys know this. I somehow always space out on our announcements. Luckily, I mentioned the book in the first 15 minutes of, excuse me, of our broadcast, but everyone else knows this. I will usually forget all of the major announcements until like, you know, an hour into our broadcast and it's inevitably been buried. And, you know, love him or hate him, at that stage, an hour in, only the real people are still watching. So they'll be one of the 5 people that are real. Oh, actually, there's more than 25 now. So out of 44 people watching, I would like you to please identify yourself. If you happen to be an AI bot, please just let us know. AI bots are welcome here as well. But I have a little bit of a theory that the dead internet theory is correct. And so anyway, That said, to the business at hand, we have our monthly reading group coming up this Saturday in the Blue Flame Collective Patreon group. We are approaching, a lot of you guys know this, we are approaching our 4th year. And so you're going to hear me say this now and probably on Saturday and and many other times until mid-September. I never thought that we would go this far. I never had any idea. It's funny how often I say I never had any idea about this or that in my life, because people be like, wait, are you supposed to be a professional psychic and yet you didn't have any idea about anything in your life? I know it's true. It's a little awkward, but it is what it is. And so anyway, you guys can join us this Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be doing our monthly reading group over here in the Blue Flame Collective, approaching our 4-year anniversary coming up in, I was going to say July. That's kind of the timeline that I'm on. I'm stuck in July right now. I'm sorry. However, it's in September. And so if you do want to join us tomorrow, or tomorrow Saturday, it's only $10. And if you want to join our energy clearing, which I believe I want to say it's going to be 24th, perhaps. I think it's the 24th. Um, that's in the $20 tier. And so anyway, just let you guys know that it's out there. This is probably the most low cost method for those of you guys that want to become acquainted and just become a part of what me and Nora do. This is probably the best way to do it. Because everybody that shows up to this receives a reading. Everybody that shows up. And so you guys can find this over there in the Patreon realm. I was hyper resistant to Patreon when it first kind of kicked off. I really did. Some of you guys out there that know me will know I was like super resistant to paywalls. And like, I don't know, it just felt like a thing that I did not want to do at all. Um, and honestly, I would say out of all the groups that we do, it has become the most regular and most established version of anything that we've done since I started doing this strange, process in 2017. And granted, we only started Patreon, I think, in 2020 or 2019. So, there was some time difference there, but it has been just remarkably regular, and there has been this strange little like community of people that keep showing up over and over again. And there's been people from the very beginning, literally 4 years ago, that came to the very first meetings that are still showing up, even to like, oh, even now. It's a crazy thing. And so anyway, please do join us if you like. You will get a reading this Saturday at 4 p.m. Nora will be there as well. She's kind of a mystery on YouTube, but it's funny because everyone else that knows us will know Nora because she's always literally right next to me. Except if you're in the YouTube realm, Anyway, one more thing, and then we're gonna get back to what other matters here. This is also a very important thing, and what I have been noticing is over the past few months, these classes that we recorded last year have been gaining, a lot of traction. And it was one of those things that I also did not see coming. I didn't necessarily think that people would, to take advantage of the classes and the work that we had been doing after the fact. Those of you guys that know me know that I actually very much thrive in the live environment. And I have been blown away by how many people have been, looking for our work and learn how to do energy work. And it's a crazy thing. But if you're one of those people, before I go on a long rant about this here, this weird infomercial moment, if you're one of the people in our community that has been looking for a method to begin learning how to work with energy. Maybe you're one of the people that breezes through this channel every now and then. Maybe you're one of the people that's been watching for a long time. Maybe you end up finding us on Facebook. There's usually one or two people that show up through Facebook, or who knows, however you find this, you're probably a part of just this population of people on Earth right now that are learning a lot more about how non-physical life force energy works. And, a lot of us have tried Reiki, and some of us have tried pranic healing, and many of us have engaged in a number of forms of energetic healing modalities, and some of them are incredible. Some of them, are, better than others. Not to say that others are better or worse, but there's different levels of appropriateness and vibration for each person. one of the things that I've been really shocked about over the years is how many people continue to show up to engage in energy clearing practices that I do, work that we do in our private sessions. And I think really the reason behind why we ended up putting these classes out was because I believe that everyone has the ability to begin working with energy in very much the same way that I do. It doesn't mean that you'll end up doing it exactly the same way. The idea is that you will begin to evolve and sort of take things in your own direction using a simple set of fundamental tools that assist people sort of expanding and opening their energy body. And we do talk about it in the book, the capsule phrases. And now these classes came before the book, and so the information is a little bit more spread out over several different sessions that are at least a couple different or a couple hours in length each. But this is a really good way for people to begin learning how to work with energy. And let's say you want to begin working on, your own energy or other people. The capsule phrases will enable people to do that. I mean, clearly we treat ourselves as our own first client. That's literally how it goes. But if you're one of those people out there that's been looking for an entry point in working with energy healing, and you want to begin, maybe outside of what we would call the incredible potency, but also dogmatic restriction of things like old school Reiki stuff, of which there's many different forms. Let's say you want to step outside of that and you want to begin working with chakras and meridians and working with dilation and just going in, a little bit of a direction that allows you to begin to kind of tailor your own journey in terms of what's going on in your body. Anyway, I could go on and on about it, but this is a class that people keep purchasing, and I've just made a choice to continue to mention it when we do these live streams because I think, like I said, if you're one of the people that's out there been trying to figure out how to start doing energy work, or maybe you've done a session with me in the past, and you want to begin learning how to do that very same process, this is a really good way to begin doing it. And so anyway, you can hit it up. It's over there you can see it on the screen. I don't think I can even say the name of this website. You can see it right there. It's on the screen up in the upper left-hand corner. I'm told if I say the name of that website, because it's a competitor to YouTube, that there's an instant algorithm that will that'll block your video from getting seen later. And so we're starting to do all we can to avoid those things. But anyway, check it out. It's out there if you want to take advantage of it. And with that, we will casually close the infomercial stage. Anyway, thanks, you guys. Good to see you all. What's up, Cosmic Mama, Woman of the Stars? It's good to see you. Greetings. And you have actually reminded me of one of the important points that, because you guys know, I'll talk on and on before I get to the good stuff. And I do want to do a little bit of a recap because this is the first time that we have done a live since we did the Full Disclosure Now conference, headed up by Mr. Brian Singh out there in the Serrata Beach Resort in St. Pete Beach, Florida. It was July 15th through 18th, which, it's almost a month ago now, actually. But this is kind of the first opportunity I've had to do a live since then. And so I guess there's really not too much to say about it that hasn't already been said, but I'm really honored to be included in this event. I think that out of all of the conferences I've done, and that's not to say there have been many, because it's, there have been a few, which I've been honored to be a part of. But out of all the events I have been a part of, I think it was the most inclusive and just most, honestly, it was very much like a vacation and a family reunion in just a very different way than maybe we've had with some of the other community gatherings or conferences over the past few years. I think that Brian really set kind of his own vibe and created just a community out of that event that it went better than I had hoped for it to go. And, next year we're definitely hoping for a greater turnout, which we know there's going to be a lot more people. I think it was exactly the way that it was supposed to be. And anyway, I was able to do both a workshop, which was on one, and then a little bit of a talk later on in the week amongst a number of other people, which actually is what I really want to talk about. Because it's rare. For those of you guys that know me, you guys will know I don't get a lot of work from other people. I am not one of those people out there in trades with everyone that does energy work. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If I felt the need to do it, I certainly would. So I'm not knocking it. I'm not out there, trying everyone's, modality. Although I did at an earlier stage, and I think that's a very good thing to do. I'd say when you start getting into this stuff, try as many styles and modalities and forms of healing that you can. I think it's very, very wise to do so because it'll just give you a different sampling of different types of energies or frequencies. But um I just don't get a lot of work from people, and I felt a need to at that conference. I think there were some moments of I this is as far as I will ever go. There were some moments of oddly jagged and toxic energy. They were very brief, very, very brief, and they were just utterly shocking, but very short-lived. And within the intensity of that moment, I actually made one of those decisions of, I'm going to get a session from the people here. And it was after I had seen a man named Alondra Markman tell his story along with Arkeem. And for those of you guys that have already known or have seen our channel, Arkeem has been on our channel. He's been one of the people within that community whose story I have greatly enjoyed, and I found a lot of authenticity in his experience. And so he had shared the stage with this guy Alondra, who was the first time I had ever heard of, man. I had no idea what to expect. And I was actually shocked because he actually said a thing right at the start of his session. He said a thing that I had been told about myself at the very beginning of my professional journey in doing this, and that was that my body was a conduit for a particular type of healing that would take a different form for each individual person that would come in contact with it. And for some people, that sounds very woo-woo and very like, oh, very like holier than thou. And nothing like that. But I noticed when he started his talk, he said something very similar along those lines. And it was one of those moments where, like, and you feel that person's authenticity. And so anyway, after his talk, which you guys can check it out, I know that they have posted the recordings. I should have had the link ready. I was gonna share it. It's my mistake. Um so but yeah, you guys can purchase the recordings of, I think, most everyone's talks, the ones that were on the main stage. I think all those got live streamed. And so I think one of mine is on there, or maybe both. But anyway, you can check out Alondra and Arkeem's talk as well, which was absolutely magnificent. Anyway, afterward, I ended up getting a session from him, and it was incredible. It was one of those experiences that you'll have with a person, which honestly is a little bit like what I do. And maybe that's why it sort of worked with me, because I'm one of those people that within the course of our session, we're oftentimes just having a conversation. And it's sort of like you open up the space and certain words or certain things are spoken or sort of let out, and certain energy is moved through the sort of transactional power that comes through just this certain synchronicity within the conversation and words, and like emotions come spilling out. And there's a certain type of a release that comes from those type of moments that I have often heard people, talk about in the sessions that I do. And it was really cool for me to get to have that experience with someone. It's funny, I even feel a little bit emotional talking about it right now, because it was a deeply powerful release for me, and it was something that I really needed. And so anyway, the other area that I messed up is I was going to share his website, and unfortunately I did not. I didn't get it set up. I was going to share the guy's website, but anyway, I failed. Anyway, his name is Alondra Markman, and he's an incredible healer, and I definitely give him my vote of approval if you're looking for someone to help you move some blocked up emotional toxic energy through your body. He's a very, 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 very good one. Anyway, so check him out if you can. I also received. Oh man. Okay. Here's the other thing. I see Mario in the chat. What's up, Mario? I also got an acupuncture treatment from Mario's partner, soon to be wife, Shelly. Oh wow. I mean, honestly, it had a profound effect on me. I noticed night I had very, very different sleep. Not that I have problematic sleep already, but I have problems getting to sleep, I think I'm blessed to have reasonably good sleep, but I just noticed from the very first night after that that I just slept very, very differently. But I also noticed a lot of inflammation, just kind of draining out from the abdominal region because that was kind of one of the things we had mentioned. And anyway, I know she's primarily working in the physical mediums, and meaning you'd have to be with her to get a actual acupuncture treatment. But if you do run into them at an event anytime in the near future, I absolutely, absolutely recommend Shelly as an acupuncturist. And yeah, it was really good, really, really, really notable. I felt a lot of congestion sort of left. In fact, for those of you guys that watch our channel, you've noticed many, many, many times when I've been in here, I've been super, super congested. And she actually turned me on to a Chinese, a Chinese homeopathic, I guess we call it, or just like a medicinal Chinese nasal spray that so far has worked better than anything I have ever encountered. And so, anyway, it was what I would call a very, very profound healing experience, both from an energetic level, in the session that I had with Alondra, and also on a physical level, the session that I had with Shelly. And it's funny because I did not know those were things I was going to do when I went to that event. I had no plans of getting any session from anyone, but they both kind of lined up perfectly. It was just like something about both of those experiences was very co- complementary to each other. And so, anyway, I can't believe I'm still breathing so clear. It is wild. It is a wild, wild thing. And so, anyway, thanks, you guys. Thanks, Mario. She all prescribes herbs. Totally. What's up, Andromedan? Chinese acupuncture, right? Totally, totally. I am a we do a little bit. I don't know that I would call it psychic acupuncture because I don't necessarily in the work that we do in sessions. I don't necessarily work with points per se. I don't use points on the meridians. There's a few of them that I will sort of aim at. I do is create drainage and flushing through the meridian pathways by opening up the beginning and the end of the pathway. Or at times I will grab segments of it. And by grab, I mean, honestly, it is with the mind's eye, it is with intention. It is often through the use of a capsule phrase that creates dilation in that region of the body. And then it's also a tone or breath and energy and sort of an auditory vibration all combined together. Anyway, it's shown over, I hate to say it because it sounds dumb, over thousands of times, but literally over thousands of times, it's shown to be very, very effective in opening up pathways within the body. It's like so past the point of being one of those, maybe it does. It's like it does. We know that it does. It's entirely possible. But so we work with it a little bit, I would say, from a psychic perspective in creating flushing and movement through the meridian pathways, but I don't necessarily treat points. And I think, honestly, there's a whole different level of healing that you're going to get from a traditional acupuncturist anyway, versus the energetic approach can also do a lot. But I think there's just a different level of kind of absorption. And so, anyway, I absolutely recommend it. I recommend them as well. Maybe she'll be doing some online work in the future, but um, anyway, thanks, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. John Kent had a question. He says, "Where can I watch recordings of the speakers?" I believe it is Full Disclosure Now Movement.org. But I also want to apologize, John, because I was gonna have it, kind of get up top of the screen there to share it, and I did not. But it is available. You can purchase them at this point right now. Anyway, thanks, you guys. Let me know if you have any other questions. We have a couple of other little things to mention, and we're going to do a couple readings, and then you guys will be, some of you will be disappointed because our show is going to be a bit shorter. It's going to be a bit shorter, but I want to encourage you guys at 9 o'clock. If you're watching this live stream right now, I want to encourage you at 9 o'clock to head over to the Disclosure Now channel, where I believe Arkeem is going to be interviewing Rob of Typical Skeptic. And the reason why we're going to end this broadcast is because I'm going to go watch that as well. For those of you guys, and I think Rob was here earlier, he's probably not now, but a lot of you guys, I think that will kind of come through this channel as well, will have also seen me on Typical Skeptic. And he's just kind of like the one person on the one show that we keep going to over and over and over again because he's real and he's cool. And yeah, it's been really fun. He's been a really good friend. And so anyway, I invite you guys at 9 p.m. head over to the Disclosure Now channel, and you can watch Rob get interviewed, which is, it's always interesting to see the interviewer get interviewed. How will that go? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna be a little bit of a shorter show. What's up, Amanda Muller? She says, "Is that a spooky tune in the background?" Yes, it is. It absolutely is. I'm a very big believer in the power and efficacy of Rife treatments for healing a number of things. We actually brought the Rife system over to the Full Disclosure Now conference for a while. We did a couple treatments there. Aurora Diamond was talking about it on her channel. I think Rob talked about it on his channel as well. We also did a treatment with Rob, just on kind of I have identified a few sort of at times like nootropics or almost like hormonal sparking kind of frequencies that you can use, that you can work with in the spooky Rife system that will, for people that have a lot of stagnancy or energetic buildup, or people who are detoxing, or I mean honestly for all sorts of things. So the list goes on and on. I'm not going to go on a spooky 2 infomercial right now, but it's remarkable. Honestly, it is remarkable. It's shocking. Yeah, I recommend everyone, if you can afford to get a Rife system. And the reality is, for those of you that want to head over to, I believe it is spooky2rife.com. I'm pretty sure it's spooky2rife.com. You can I'm pretty sure you can actually get the single Rife unit, which is that one right there. You can get a single Rife one for, I believe it's under $200, or it might be just over $200. But I mean, the reality is, like, I believe anyone in this world can get together $200, and maybe plus shipping. I know, versus what a lot of other Rife systems cost, which is in the thousands. And granted, there's like the larger one behind it, which is a lot more. But if you wanted, like, if you were a person that wanted to get started on figuring out, how to, I'll just say, create greater wellness within the human mind, body, spirit complex. I believe it's one of those things that it'll change your life. It'll change your life. Anyway, what's up, LV70C73? She knows. Spooky 2 Mall. There you go. You got the website. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. There we go. She has the actual website, spooky2mall.com. But yeah, check it out. Seriously, you guys, I mean it very, very sincerely. Juliana Costello, hello there. We can, but you can also, well, this is basically, Juliana, for real. It is spooky2mall.com. Spooky2-mall. And honestly, you can even just like literally go on the top of any search engine and do Spooky 2 Rife for sale, and you'll go boom right there. But yeah, you can get the single Rife one. Honestly, I think it's for it might be just over $200, but it's I believe that's a manageable amount for a lot of people when it comes to what you're going to get out of it. I think it'll, for some people, it can dramatically change your life. Some of you out there will notice I'm being very careful about using keywords and things like that. What's up, Jace? How's it going? Greeting. Good to see you. Thanks for rolling through. They definitely work. They're very, very legit. There you go. Aurora Diehard, the crazy long, right? The crazy long link, right? Totally. Anyway, It is. It's definitely worth it. It really is. It's brought a lot of healing and help into both my life and Anora's life. Aurora Diamond Hearts used it. A number of us have had a treatment with it. But yeah, you guys can do it with yourself at home. You will need a PC. You do need like a separate PC to run it. So, hopefully you have a PC computer, just adding to the list of expenses. But no, but seriously, you will need a PC on it. And I got to be also really honest. There's a very high learning curve to configuring the device on such a level that will actually make it work properly. I cannot deny it. It is you really have to learn how to use it. It's not one of those like start healing now, click. That's the downside of the whole thing. But you can, and if you're willing to spend a little bit of time with it, it'll blow your mind. It'll blow your mind. And then it becomes sort of second nature. But I would say that's sort of that's the problem area. A very difficult user interface. But I would say the greatest amount of power and control when it comes to using Rife frequencies that I've seen. And I know there's many versions that I haven't seen, but I'm just saying from a mainstream perspective, I think the Spooky 2 Rife comes with the most power and ability, just at the cost of poor user interface. And yeah, and you have to have a PC computer. But anyway, Cosmic Origin says doesn't work on Mac. No, it doesn't, unfortunately. Well, technically, Amanda Mueller knows. Yeah, supposedly it doesn't, but I do know for a fact there are some people that can. There's some sort of a thing you can do with the Mac that will allow you to run like something that's sort of like a PC emulator or something, so you can kind of run. I guess what I'm saying is yes, with a lot of wrangling, you can actually run it on a Mac, but I have a Mac and I wouldn't even bother trying to do it because it looks like there's so many steps and downloads, and I don't know. Maybe it's really easy. Maybe it's super easy, and I'm just like dating myself, with lack of internet ability. It's possible. Anyway, yeah, you do need a PC. Anyway, thanks for all the questions, you guys. I absolutely recommend Spooky 2 Rife to anyone that can take advantage of it. Thank you, Mario. Absolutely. We will certainly be there. Dawn Vibration says, I was worried about the learning curve. You helped convince me. The one thing that will aid you in that is that I believe the creators know, well, I mean, obviously they do, but they have a bunch of training videos through their website and through their YouTube. And I know because that's how I learned to use it. I just watched, like, I'm super obsessive though. So that's both like a blessing and a curse. But I just went on a binge and I literally watched every single one like over and over and over again. But I think at that stage of 2021, I think it was 21, late 2020. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I think I had the benefit of extreme obsession at that stage, whereas now I don't really have much time for that type of obsession. But if you're willing to like devote yourself to it for like a week, maybe it won't be a week. Some people will just click. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know how to do this." Anyway, thanks you guys. Thanks for being here. We're gonna do a real quick card pull for our collective, but I do want to ask if anyone has a question. Unfortunately, we're not going to do individual readings, but we're going to pull a few cards before we go, just for the overall collective. If anyone has any questions right now about, I will even open it up to kind of socio-political things, you know what I mean? If you want to go that route, but I'll give it a couple comments before we begin to roll out the door. I think we'll do three. We'll do three collective card pulls, one for everyone, and then we're gonna do two for, I don't know, maybe some questions or just something. So give me a question. You guys are like, I know you're probably like 15 seconds like delayed from where I am, or at least it was at the start. I could tell there was a wild delay. Unscripted Liberation Code says XRP. You want me to do a reading on XRP? Maybe. Maybe we will. Maybe we will. Adam Marquis says, question observation. Can you confirm that since less than 24 hours ago, the global consciousness of angelics had a boost, for lack of better words? Can we confirm that? That's a very good question. I'm going to take an awkward moment of dead air and kind of focus in upon the energy within the question that you've written here, Adam. I'll just tell you what comes up. And so you'll hear this a few seconds after I say it. But if you're with us, Adam, just take a slow breath in, just deep and full. And just strain it out as you need to. I will tell you the overall feeling that comes through from your question is it seems as though there are a number of what we might call beings or hierarchies or groups, we could say orders possibly, of higher dimensional beings that have maybe been given some form of a boost or assistance, or we could call it strengthening of sorts. It stands to reason that if you have noticed certain movements within those spaces in the past few hours, that it's probably because there has been movement. And I believe that just based on where we are within the energetic climate of our current year, and I guess I'll base it off of socio-political factors, it does make sense that certain factions or higher dimensional beings would be kind of mobilizing for greater action. And so I would take that as in agreement. I don't know that I could confirm it for you, but I can say that I am in agreement that something within what you might call an angelic realm, and probably others. For some reason, I feel like it's others. I'll just say that. I feel like it's other collectives as well, but I would say it feels resonant that they have received some form of like a boost within their we'll say energetic momentum. And so I don't know if that answers anything for you. I wouldn't call it a confirmation, but I am very willing to agree with you that a notable wave of change or movement is occurring. I'll leave it there. I hope that makes sense. Hopefully I articulated hopefully I articulated that properly. Okay. Other people are asking about XRP. Okay. You know what Oh man, I'm one of the. If you guys would have saw me like 3-4 years ago, Jace knows I would have been like, I'm not gonna do a reading on these cryptos. Jace would, he knows I would have been like, hell no. But actually now I'm like, well, well, actually maybe we will. Let's pull a card on it. What do we need to know about the current climate with respect to just crypto movement, the rise and fall, the increase in value of things like XRP, and probably a number of others? But just for the energy of the moment, the sake of those involved in this now moment on Earth, what do we need to know? We're gonna see it together. Oh man, you guys might be mad at me. I feel like you're gonna get mad at me. We're just gonna ask, what do we need to know about XRP? And I'm gonna pull a card. We're gonna see it together. I don't know. Look, we don't know. We know what's coming. Well, we got the sun on one side. I'm gonna make sure the sun goes somewhere in the middle. So if they want to give us the sun, which would be a good omen, it'd be nestled within the deck if spirit wants to bring that out. And some might say just the fact that it was there would signal that, there's a bright future. But um anyway, we don't know what it will be. It could, let's just ask, what do we need to know about the movement, timeline, momentum of XRP? Here we go. 3 2 1. What? Oh damn. What? Well. Somebody out there knows. Somebody out there knows what this is about. You got a 7 of Pentacles. In the world of what's going to happen with something, where's it going to go? Is it going to get big? Is there going to be more of it? Is there value? Is there you know what I mean? Is there, we could even call it a quest. Is there a quest for this thing right now? Is there movement? You know what I mean? Yes, hell yeah, hell yeah. You guys got it. So we have a seven of pentacles in the world of, if you want to call it XRP, or just, greater crypto movement, if you want to, put it on a wider scope of things. So what does that really mean? First off, it potentially remarkably lucrative. If you're looking for something to increase, Seven of Pentacles is literally spirit telling you the thing you are seeking it's here, it's happening, it's outside, it's over there. It's over there. You won't see it. That's the whole idea. That's why it's Seven of Pentacles. You're not going to see it. It won't come up to you and smack you in the face. You'll have to go looking for it. Yeah, and you got to be smart and willing to get dirty in how you kind of work with it and kind of, continue to grow it in your life. But it's literally what you've been seeking, and spirit's telling you that there's an arrival of that. It's just there's a lot of a quest involved in it. And I guess if you wanted to look at it from the perspective of a rise and fall of kind of movement in a market, it's going to signal that there will be there's going to be some movement both up and down, and there's also going to be a number of hidden factors with the Seven of Pentacles. And so I would say, as an overall, we'll say a harbinger, if you want to use that word. It's very, 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 very good. But there's a lot more work that needs to take place behind the scenes and within the manner in which one engages with it, in order for you to continue to make it keep paying off. I guess what I'm saying is there's action. There's action that still needs to be taken. And I don't know, maybe what I'm saying does not actually apply with the lexicon and the terminology and, just your understandings of that. But the reality is, it's, in my opinion, it's a very, very good omen. It's a very, very good one. Anyway, thank you. Tiffany says, anyone want to chime in on dreams? Everyone I know has been having. Yeah. Oh, man, Tiffany, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Very, very helpful. I actually did have a very, very, let me keep this on the screen so I don't lose my train of thought. After the Full Disclosure Now conference, I guess here we go. I'm opening this can of worms at 9 p.m. when I was telling everyone to go watch this other show. So only the true diehards will remain. But shortly after the Full Disclosure Now conference, I had a very, very bizarre dream. Like, I cannot deny the oddness of this. And I believe this was early morning. It was still dark outside. I perceived myself sort of waking up, coming out of, a state of, we could say, unconsciousness. It felt as though I was a little bit out of body, or maybe a little bit above my actual bed. And the only thing I can really recall of this is that some form of a presence there. I believe there's probably multiple presences there, and something was inserted into this tooth right here. It's almost like this, not a drill, not like a moving tool. It was like something was like this feeling of it, like pushing itself all the way up into my, almost like a hammer. But there was, not a screw, more like a hammer, like pushed into my tooth on the right side. And the thing that woke me from it was this incredibly loud pop. And it was literally right here, right in this tooth on the right side of my mouth. And it was like, snap, and I just woke up and I was like, oh, like what, what the fuck happened? You know what I mean? And who knows? I honestly have no idea. I mean, I have ideas about it. One of my ideas has to do with the fact that I had publicly disclosed on that live stream and at that conference just some of the things that I hadn't really talked on such a larger public level about. Well, I guess if you want to call it my lab experiences that I had at other stages of the human journey, and how a certain thing would get inserted into my, as I talk about it at length in the book. And it's just been a factor for me. I'd had a number of what we would call astral or dream time experiences in which I would awaken in another location, or I would be actually standing up next to my bed prior to appearing in another location in which, devices would be placed over my head, and I would literally watch every single thought, every single conversation, every single thing I had said or done, or it was like being watched. It was being recorded in this bulk recording kind of program thing. It was crazy because later on I had heard other people talk about this, but one of the things that had confused me about it in the beginning was that a lot of times when I would be in there and I was able to look at the people that were doing it, it wasn't like it was beings, it was like people, but somehow they would have their faces blurred, kind of like what you'll see on a old school TV. You know what I mean? Like in the old days when they would blur someone's, not old days, I'm like years ago. They don't do it so much lately, right? But anyway, a lot of you guys will, recall like a news report where they're like, so and so is, guys, and it's really just this blurred circle over their face. But it was like people had these like weird blurred circles over their face. And so anyway, to make a long story short, my current theory, I say theory because, like honestly, you really never know. I think we're all uncovering our own understandings of what's happened with each of us in our own ways. But um I noticed after the conference, and granted, I have been taking sort of an herbal thing to help with, congestion, but ever since then, I have been nearly effortless in terms of breathing, which for those that know me know that I spent years, over a decade, with almost complete nasal blockage, at least most of the day, and suddenly that's gone. But a few days later, I receive a very, very loud physical snap from something getting inserted inside my tooth. And there's this part of me that, you know what I mean, that wants to go down that road of like, oh, maybe they just switched it to your tooth, which is always really fun, I think, for the haters and the hardcore skeptics and those people that will watch this and go, "This guy thinks that this dude thinks next next thing you know, he'll tell you he's in a secret space program." No, I'm not saying that. I just know there has been some form of multidimensional tampering and monitoring and involvement within my life on a level that I think I don't really fully understand. I mean, I know that I don't understand it, and anyway, thank you for sorry, Tiffany, you opened a can of worms. You opened a can of worms. Aurora Diamond Heart said it. I think it's true, honestly. I mean, I know it is. I choose to keep it humorous and sort of sarcastic and kind of lighthearted and non-serious, but I think it's just kind of how I think that's how it is. Tiffany says, I went to a dream realm last night where soldiers were on the watch for all 3D people. Communication was highly sophisticated and seemed like a higher realm. You know what? I feel like you're traveling. I'm just going to say it. You're probably checking in on other versions of you in parallel realms. And let me tell you, you guys, it gets really, really weird when you start going into parallel selves and parallel timelines. Um, really, just shocking. It's going to get weirder as we go along in the human journey. A lot will take place within the dream state. And I think one of the easiest ways in which we can gain greater recall over those experiences is through writing down your dreams or talking about them immediately upon awaking, keeping the frequency or the shards of memory fresh, because you use a lot of it. I have not been writing down my dreams lately, and there's been a lot of crazy stuff going on. I haven't. And I wake up and I'm like, whoa. And then like I'm making coffee, like a little while later, and I'm like, what? Anyway, yeah, that was wild. Yeah, dude, this crazy thing, and you just kind of like steamroll through the rest of your day. Anyway, Cosmic Origin says, yeah, Braden, literally every night visiting two us people. I hope you mean aliens, Jace. You're probably replying to something totally different, but I hope you mean aliens are visiting us. Seriously, I mean, maybe it's something else. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Anyway, what's up, Trinity? I've been having paralysis dreams as well. All of my dreams are vivid. Oh, there you go. The face is blurred. What's going on? They don't want us to remember. I know that sounds cheesy. That sounds overly conspiratorial, right? They don't want you to remember, right? It's perfect. It's perfect. It's like the perfect ammunition for like, oh really? And are they in a room with us right now? It's so, you can't even get fired up about it, but at the same time, literally, they don't want you to remember. It's true. It's true. Oh man, Jace visited Logan and Paul, and Dana White. Interesting. Do they sleep in pods? Do they plug their bodies into something? Do they pray to some form of strange Mesopotamian god that has granted them strange physical prowess, odd, celebrity and ridiculous fortune? Because it feels like they do. It feels like they're part of something bigger. There's an unnatural amount of like energetic acceleration around both of the Pauls. No, for real though, you guys know it. You know what I mean. You can't really put your finger on it. It's something unnatural. And I'm not even saying evil, so I'm not trying to say, oh, it's like demonic, it's satanic. I'm not even, no, we're not even throwing those words into it. It's just there's some form of unnatural level of energetic kind of manifestation, or just sort of, yeah, availability. And you'll see that with a lot of people. I think you'll see that with certain people who are part of those, like, we're famous just for being famous. I think in some cases there's a very artificial form of kind of mag magnetism that can be created around people. And anyway, it is a remarkable thing. We could go on and on about it, but we won't. We're actually gonna we're gonna get out of here in a minute. And totally. Trinity says, run to put water under your hands when in a state of paralysis. Maybe that works if you can. I pray that it does. I pray that you're able to do that. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, you guys. Mario's been collapsing a timeline where I never left Oregon. It's funny you'd mention that. I'm kind of viewing these other. Well, it's kind of one of the things on the header image for today, which I have been doing a lot of work on viewing other selves over the past few months, and I do talk about it in the book a little bit toward like the middle parts, where I talk about what had happened to me after the QHHT session that I had. But yeah, I mean, very, very legitimately, it's like some channel of energy was opened up within my field, and it's like for some reason it's not that I couldn't before. I mean, it wasn't even so much that I wanted to or didn't want to. It's just that since that experience, it's like I wouldn't call it effortless, really. I wouldn't call it effortless, but I can find the other versions of myself on other timelines and get shockingly specific with parallel selves. I mean, to the extent that the understanding that I have about it is that there's a channel that will get left open when you receive certain types of work, or certain types of frequencies within the energy body. And if there's an appropriate use for you to have that channel open, I think for some of it can remain open. Um, and I might have it totally wrong. I might have it completely wrong as well, but that's literally how it's been since having a QHHT session. I've been able to find other lives, past lives, if you want to call them that, which is, I don't even know. You know what I mean? Like, when you really look at it, and I know this is such a tired statement, but when you really do look at it, they're just parallel selves on other times that will still persist. They'll still be going on in some form, in some way. And there's the future ones, there's the past ones. And one of the other experiences that I've spoken of in the book was about a version of myself that I do believe is currently existing on what we would call a breakaway civilization, or within a higher dimensional breakaway civilization, in which there was a number of different races There's different versions of humans that had been there. Some of the humans had very different ears. That was one thing. They had like ears that had these multiple sort of like pockets of just like an extra appendage around their ears, and they were called. Uh, I don't know that they were called humans specifically, not that that name specifically exists. I think, but there's another word that I believe is used for people of the sort of humanoid kind of species, and there was a number of them. And anyway, I do believe in going to the relevant parts of that. I do believe that's also a version of myself that has what I would call a vested interest from a higher dimensional perspective in assisting me with understanding the in infinite, there we go, the infinite amount of other selves, which I'll be weird, real, sorry, real. It's weird. It's weird. It's a little bit dissociating. I think it's a thing that one can get lost in. If you get lost in it, I think it can be a thing where if you really want to look into the energies of those around you, it can sort of, I think if you're not ready for it, it can kind of change the ways in which you would perceive certain relationships, because it's like well, I mean, I'll be real. It's like you can look at a person and feel into their energy and find other versions of them and other events, places, and things. And I think for some people that devote a lot of time to trying to uncover past lives, that in itself, or alternate selves, that in itself is kind of a trap, because that, I think, at times carries forward certain events and feelings and ideas, and or maybe even reintroduces certain energies into this incarnation that have no bearing upon this time now. And I mean, things that we didn't need to remember, things that weren't necessarily relevant, but it's like sometimes you can go back and look at things not because you should, because you can. And we as humans will inevitably like, well, because I could, I did it, and it's like, so I think for some people it can, it is very, very dissociating. I wouldn't necessarily say negative, but um and I would say at the same time it could well, it could be, honestly, because one of the things you'll learn is that there are very, very pronounced and very real versions of yourself in what we would call lower astral planes, other lower dimensions. Which is crazy. The crazy thing is a lot of them are very, or the ones that I have been able to perceive, rather, to be more accurate. Because I think, like I've said many times, as soon as you think you know about the things, how the way things work in a so-called astral, non-physical space, as soon as you think you know, it's almost like there's just some force that'll come along and just smack you in the face. It's almost like if you even try to adopt some form of arrogance about it, always happens. It's just, it doesn't. It doesn't. There's always an exception, and a lot of you guys have heard me say that many, many times, but I will continue to say that because I just think, arrogance of knowledge about what we perceive in a non-physical, essentially invisible space that exists within and outside of all of us at the same time. We're on such an infinite level of understanding that it's like, I think it's just the human ego that pulls us toward making hard and fast conclusions about things that are essentially not this world. And if you want to get technical, not to go on a rant about it, I mean, really, our mission is to be human as humans. That's why we incarnate here, which is probably a whole other off ramp we can go down in the conversation. But um it's a very, very interesting, very, very interesting thing to behold. And I would say, for, I will kind of leave you guys with this. And yes, we're going to pull a card before we get out of here, but I will leave you with this. Let's say if you were doing energy work upon yourself and you wanted to open up the channel of energy within your body, or you wanted to begin, because it's like a gradual opening, and it's a thing that you actually really have to consciously devote time and energy to cultivating the life force energy within your body to kind of apply energy to those passageways. But let's say if if you wanted to start working on one of your chakras that could help you with that, or I would say a couple of your chakras, I would start with the crown chakra, number one, just because I think when we're seeking higher dimensional or trying to open ourselves on a greater level to spiritual communication, the crown chakra is indispensable for that. Not to say that that's the only way, and I could go down a whole other rant about all the other ways, but it's one of the most universal openings to the human energy body, but just kind of behind it. And if I'm going to kind of hold my head sideways, and you can imagine your crown right here, right at the top of your head. And if you wanted to go back just a couple inches, and it's not parallel or it's not in line with your third eye, but it's kind of like just above that. And so you can imagine like a tunnel that goes straight through your head, in your third eye from front all the way to back. And then just above that is this little opening that I used to talk about it a lot back in the day. I used to talk about it all the time. The Bindu chakra, or the moon portal. And I think there's other names. That's one of the things you're going to learn about when you start really learning chakra stuff, is like, depending on who you learn from, they're going to have different names or terms for all this stuff. You know what I mean? It's like you can get lost in the terminology of it. But regardless of what you want to call it, Bindu, moon portal, there's another one that I can't think of. Try and remember it. Anyway, that is actually an opening that does pertain to what we would call just lineage based data that streams into the human energy field throughout the course of our human existence. There are passageways within the body. Like, you ever know how, or noticed, everyone's had this, you were just naturally good at things in this life. There were certain things you just picked up as a kid and you're like, I've done this again and again. I'm just naturally good at it. Some people were like that with music, like guitar. I was kind of like that with the guitar. It taught me. I just kind of learned how to play on my own. That said, I still had to learn. But other people have similar things where it's just like I was really good at instant. That's a good example of certain types of genetic lineage based data that will come through passages like the Bindu chakra in the back of the head. And like I said, it's not the only place where that comes in, but um just with dedication, breath, and meditation upon that passageway, with an intention toward opening up a greater stream of what we would call higher dimensional data, meaning your lineage, meaning who you've been in, your sort of family lines or your bloodlines, or the trail of energy that persists with you throughout, your incarnations. Meditate upon that spot just above the back of your third eye and just ask spirit to help you kind of create a greater opening into other selves. Um, and it's crazy because if you really, really devoted yourself to that, like if you really were one of those people that devoted yourself to that, you would see results very, very quickly. Meaning, if you are willing to do that within a meditation on a daily basis for maybe even 15 minutes of pure silence, you would notice a change, and you would begin to notice dreamlike effects that would occur within your daydreams throughout the day. That would kind of feel like you're watching movies of other times, and you'd get some emotions about them and just see things in your dreams. And it's like your imagination would open up, and you'd feel a little bit like you're making it up. And just so you know, it's the first layer of the mind barriers, imagination layer. You have to go through the one that makes you think you're making it up, but you will begin to perceive other layers of data. I just think it's one of those places you can open up. Anybody can do it. And so, anyway, please do check it out if you can. Thanks, you guys. Before we get out of here, we're going to pull a card for our collective. Here we go. We are going to pull. We don't have necessarily any questions, like collective questions. We're just going to pull a card just for everyone here. If you're still watching this live stream, looks like there's 40 something people. Congratulations. Thank you for being here at this point in time. I hope after the stream ends, you will go check out the Disclosure Now channel and watch Rob's interview over there. He's a good friend. But for now, we're going to pull a card just for the collective. I don't know. We don't really have a question. Maybe we don't need one. Everybody take a deep breath in. Hold it for a quick moment at the top and just let it drain out. We ask all those of you currently assisting with the creation, the manifestation of the most amazing, most magical, most liberating timeline. Those of you assisting us with creating that version of reality, we just ask, what do we need to know or see about this time, this date, this moment right here on Earth? Here we go. We'll see it together. Oh, here we go. 3, 2, 1, and boom. Okay. Whoa. All right. Okay. This is a beautiful thing to see. Very, very, very unexpected. I'm going to be real. I was not expecting a Two of Cups. Maybe somebody else out there was like, I know it's going to be Two of Cups. I did not know who or what it's going to be, but it's the Two of Cups. So, all right, okay. So, what would this mean? What does this mean? Let's say when you pull Two of Cups from a collective perspective, and you're like, okay, that's it's good, right? Right? Especially on the right. That looks positive. It looks, romantic, right? And they're sharing cups, they're together eye to eye, some kind of strange chemical reaction taking place. What could it possibly mean? This is a time and a moment for union. This is a union of selves, between yourself and another self, between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. It's not always about romance. I got to be real. Two of Cups, I would call this more of a synergistic, more of a synchronicitous. Is that a word? Synchronistic, benevolent union. It's like when you bump into someone in the world and you see them eye to eye and you recognize something within them and you come together. And every now and then, let's be real, if this is about romance for you, let it be about romance. If this is about you coming to meet a version of yourself, aiding in another version of yourself, being strengthened by the many alternate selves, and the manner through which we create these reactions and how we connect intimately with people, whether, all forms of that intimacy. Wow, it's remarkable. I could even say that word. This is it. Intimate connections with ourselves and others, with the universe, the chemical reaction, the activation that takes place. From a larger global perspective, it's not really going to tell you that much, but let's say if you had pulled a Two of Cups and you were just saying, what do I need to know about me today, right now, in this now moment? How can I make the most of what this has to offer? You would be sure to meet everyone eye to eye, to really feel into their energy, to be present, to kind of connect openly, and to honestly watch what sort of blessings or changes or just kind of what can be created out of that moment. And then lastly, I'll say it. Let's just say if you are one of those people out there looking for romance or some form of intimate connection, boom. This is also it. Because that's kind of one of the kickers about the Two of Cups. Two of Cups and the Lovers have a similar thing together. They have a certain trait. Well, I think there's a couple of other cards that have this as well. They will have a different meaning for every single person who receives it, meaning it depends on where you are within the scope of what this represents to you. Some of us may already have this in our life. Others see it and we're like, oh God, oh no, I'm good. You know what I mean? Some of us reject it. Others look at this, we don't even know what it is. We're like, yeah, that could be a thing. I don't know, eventually. And so wherever you are in the scope of this, meaning what you perceive about yourself when you see this, that is the meaning of what this brings in. I will add, the last little other bits that I will add to it is, it's about that face-to-face, eye-to-eye connection in which you will truly feel into that person's energy and choose to meet your own authentic, real self. And anyway, watch what gets created out of that moment. And anyway, that was kind of that was an overwhelmingly positive ending, I would say. I have a feeling it is. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. After the stream ends, I hope you'll go over and click on the Disclosure Now channel and check out Arkeem and Rob's interview. Maybe you'll see us, I don't know, in the coming weeks. We will see what happens, but you can always find me at rememberyourmission.com. And I would love to see a few of you guys. If you want to get a reading, you can join us over in the Blue Flame Collective Patreon group. It's coming up this Saturday, August 10th. I actually knew the date once. This Saturday, August 10th at 4 p.m. Eastern. Honora will be there as well, and everybody gets a reading. It's only $10. So join us over at Patreon. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do so. You can help me greatly. We are only about 100 or so people away from being 7,000, which means it'll probably be about another 2 years. We're only 2 years, you know. Probably at the rate this channel's gone, it'll be about maybe 18 months will be more realistic. But yes, please subscribe if you have not done so already, and please hit the like button. Hopefully we didn't use too many negative keywords, and so a couple new people out there might find this video recommended in their YouTube time stream. But anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for joining us at this stage in the human journey. Before I go, just one last very important piece of information.